Rusty Quill presents Chapter and Multiverse. Oh, goodness. You look like you've had a busy day. Why not take a seat, and I'll bring you a delicious hot chocolate. How about that? And I can tell you a little more about Adib, Morgan, Minnie, and Joseph while we're at it. I believe that I just started telling you about their visit to Taj's incredible warehouse, filled to the brim with all the equipment and gadgetry a young superhero could desire. But it wouldn't be long before they had to put their new gear to the test.
Hello and welcome back to Chapter and Multiverse, the actual play podcast where we explore the same city across multiple parallel universes. I am your game master, Maddy Searle. My pronouns are she, her. And today we are continuing our campaign of Masks, A New Generation, which is designed by Brendan Conway and allows players to take on the role of young superheroes. But before we go any further, I must introduce our wonderful and talented players. Could you please let me know your name and pronouns and your character's name and pronouns, starting with Lowri.
Hello, I am Lowri and I am playing Bloodawedd Morgan, known as Morgan. No superhero name as of yet, and we both go by she, her pronouns.
Wonderful. And Ahmed.
Hi, I'm Ahmed Aljabry, and I am playing Adib, aka the Turban. His pronouns are he and him.
Wonderful. And Lydia.
My name's Lydia Nicholas. My pronouns are she, they, and I am playing Minnie Smithson, who usually uses she, sometimes gets mixed up, and doesn't have like a hero name that's been mentioned yet, because totally a human, just a human that can like control the sun.
Yeah. That's cool. Legit. And Pip.
Hello, I'm Pip Gladwin. I will be playing Joseph Teller. His superhero alias is Zenith, and we both go by he, him.
Wonderful. All right, so last we left off, Vera Constantine, your supervisor at TARG, the superhero governmental agency, let you into this huge honkin' great warehouse full of costumes and gadgets and weapons and just anything your superhero heart could desire. And she kind of basically turns to all of you and says, well, it's entirely up to you what you choose. Obviously within reason. We don't want you armed to the teeth to a ridiculous extent, but yeah, as long as you're happy with it, that's the most important thing.
Just as a quick thing, Minnie will obviously be used to another level of technology, and so will I like the idea that she's facing like literally the most advanced stuff that Taj has, and sort of looks back with the like completely straight face, like there's no guile to her, and where's the advanced stuff?
Well, this is our entire selection. We're actually, we're very egalitarian with how we distribute our equipment. Even the higher level superheroes and the new recruits have access to the same equipment. So, I'm assuming that where you're from, things are a bit more advanced. That would be, our tech team would be very interested to talk to you in that case.
I mean, yeah, where I'm from, like downtown. Yeah, that's, things are just very advanced. They're 3 stops away on the bus.
Great. Okay. She kind of makes a note in her phone, and so it was just like, good, yeah, interesting.
Well, it was absolutely not intended as a sarcastic thing. Like, Minnie's she thought she was, every time she thinks that she's making a sensible and relevant comment, she gets that look. So frustrating.
Human, so complex.
So complex.
Yeah. So, is there any particular area of this warehouse that attracts you? There is obviously the more costume aspect of things. There is the weapons. there is various technological gadgets and stuff going on. I basically I want to do a fashion montage. That's my goal here. I want to do a fashion montage, but with weapons as well. So does anyone want to go first? And yeah,
Morgan is a little overwhelmed. Like, she's looking around. She's probably going to be drawn to physical impact stuff. Like,
yeah.
I mean, do you have, like, I don't know, quarterstaffs or...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or...
No, yeah, for sure. She leads you down one of the aisles of shelves and shelves of stuff, and you are handed this quarterstaff with 2 kind of strange devices on either end, and Vera explains these are actually stun gadgets that can do these kinetic impacts when you attack.
Oh.
It's, yeah, we'll try and be as non-lethal as possible, but obviously there are some cases where lethal force is required. We try and keep those to an absolute minimum, but yeah, if this is something that you'd be interested in, I'd be very happy to give this to you and set you up with a trainer.
I mean, yes, but it just occurs to me, like, do you have, well, I don't know, protective gear for, like, if someone were to try and take your life force, for example, just picking a completely random thing at random. Is there anything that you could, like, provide for that?
Do you mean for yourself or for someone else?
Myself.
Right.
Though, actually thinking about it, other people too. Maybe other people should have that too.
Yes. Do you have a lot of Kevlar? Because it's woven and I can actually manipulate it, but I can't put my hands on it because this stuff is expensive, and I can't put it in my credit card because my father's going to ask a question later.
Right, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes, there is plenty of bulletproof material that is woven, so absolutely you can get your hands on that.
What about not bullets?
Well, that is more difficult when it comes to the more abstract and metaphysical aspects of superhero abilities. It's hard to...
Okay.
Our science lab is working very hard on all kinds of protective gear all the time, but I'm afraid that when it comes to something as amorphous as life force, it's very difficult to...
No, that's... Yeah, sure. I mean, that's what my uncle found as well. I just thought maybe with your resource. It's fine. I'll just go play with this, and, like, goes off, well, not too far away, but is kind of testing out the weight of the quarterstaff in her hand. And to anyone who's trained, Joseph, she has no idea what she's doing. Like, brute force. Just kind of, like, swishing it around a bit.
Yes, so Adib, yeah, let me show you where all the Kevlar equipment is kept.
I dropped my bag in front of me, and in a spin, Sailor Sun, like...
Magical
in a
girl.
Sailor Sun-like moment, I changed my outfit to my turban uniform, which is like a black pants and a black shirt, white ribbons around the arms, and 2 turbans. One, I'm wearing a red one around my shoulders, like a scarf or shawl, and one is wrapped around my head, which is blue. So I walk around her, reach out for any Kevlar armor that fits, well, big enough, bigger than me, and I ask can I adjust this?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's quite impressive.
So
feel free.
it doesn't go as fast as my normal change because I'm not accustomed to this. So I'm going to spend like a couple of minutes just trying to bend it and change it to fit me the best it can.
Yeah, she lets you kind of experiment with it and moves on to Minnie and says, well, is there any particular equipment that you think would help enhance your abilities, or any protective gear that you... Or just, actually, aesthetics are surprisingly important in this line of work. You have to be recognizable, and so is there a particular style that you want to go for?
Minnie's gonna wander around and pick out seemingly completely mismatching things, but they, like, totally work. So, like, some hover boots would be cool. She likes the idea of floating around. So... and particularly since she can control, like, whether things are heavy or light. Like, if they're quite basic hover boots, like, I'm not assuming that she can just get the power of flight from these things. She can make herself super light, so can then, like, manipulate around that and mean that she can be a bit more useful at different height levels. And yeah, some like vaguely protective costumey stuff. I like the idea of it looking like proper classic comic book bright colors that shouldn't work together, but somehow you just accept it.
Yeah.
And then like puts her shoe shop uniform shirt over the top and like ties the ends together, like it's a shirt but it's just tied together, so it's like comic book stuff and then shoe shop thing, like
I love it.
Asymmetrically kind of tied. She's cool, man.
Kind of like Rogue's t-shirt that she wears over her ones.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yes, like that, but even cooler. Yeah, Minnie doesn't really need... Minnie might get a laser gun if there's that, because then she can manipulate the light. That would be cool. She could send it around corners. That would be cool.
That is, yeah.
That's cool
absolutely.
as hell.
I don't know how much you want to give us. Like, this is the sort of thing that, to me, having played mostly D&D and Pathfinder-based stuff, like, equipment is so scarce at the beginning.
Yeah.
The idea of just, like, starting, like, hey, infinity is... like, it's blowing my mind. So, yeah, my character looks cool and has a laser gun. How's that?
Yeah.
I love imaginary games. Yeah. Also, they're cooler than me. Yeah, cool. Add that.
No, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, you can absolutely have... would you prefer, like, a really chunky sort of space-looking shotgun thing or a little revolver? What kind of gun are you hoping for?
Options. It's small. It's something I think actually it's left there accidentally and it's intended as like to be in the gift shop that people go on the way out of Taj, because it's a relatively like weak and small laser, and it looks kind of you know that chromy plasticky thing where things are that silver but they have that iridescence to them, which also Minnie's hair and eyes have, so it kind of matches, but it's a relatively like small toy laser gun, but the fact is that she can manipulate light in all sorts of ways, so we'll be able to use that for interesting things, but it goes with her aesthetic is the important thing.
Awesome.
That sounds incredible. And Joseph, what is Joseph doing in this playground? You already have access to so many resources anyway.
This is the thing. I think it's a big room and there's lots of stuff going on here. I think the first thing Joseph will do is, while kind of everyone else is being shown around and Vera's sort of talking to the others, he's just gonna kind of wander off in the vague direction of where Vera kind of pointed out there being, gadgets and that kind of stuff, but taking like a sort of a wider kind of arc to get as close to the center of the room as possible, and while reaching that point is just going to very quietly plant one of Aquila's monitoring devices on the underside of one of these shelves.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to work out if we should do a roll for that, but I think no, yeah, absolutely. You just gently slip a bug in an unobtrusive place. It's very unlikely that someone's going to find it in this huge room.
I'm going to hopefully give her some access to what's in this room, the size of the room, the shape of the room, that kind of stuff. And then I'll move off and I just want to check out the gadgets. And it's more in a sort of, is any of this better than what I already have access to? Probably
not, to be honest. Yeah. Maybe even slightly out of date. This is a government agency after all.
Man, yeah, unimpressed.
Is there anything on the aesthetic side that you want to look into? Because that may be where Aquila is more lax in what she offers.
Sure. I don't think Joseph has come out of himself enough to consider that kind of thing at this moment in time. His costume is entirely, functional, and I don't think he's not at a point in his life where he's like, but what if I put some flair on it?
We've got an arc, damn it.
Accessorize. Yeah. So I think not. There's kind of not much here for him. Probably something I would have given myself anyway, and it just depends how liberal Maddy's going to be with what gadgets I can and can't have beyond the ones that are actually written on my character sheet. So in the interest of actually having a function behind this, I'm guessing these guys have like smoke bombs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll grab some smoke bombs.
Nice.
They're pretty universal. I'll just I guess in the sort of, it's more like him giving a show of taking something rather than actually taking something that he feels like he needs.
Yeah, you could probably get more efficient smoke bombs at home. We have smoke bombs at home.
Why are you buying them? Why are you going out to buy them? But I'll grab some of those.
Great. And Morgan, I believe that we haven't considered your aesthetics yet either.
I mean, I just need to be able to move, really, I suppose. Is there some kind of, like, can I not just wear my jeans and t-shirt, or is that...
Vera looks at you with some affection, but also just like, no, sweetie, is the very obvious vibe.
Okay, I mean, Morgan is very happy to be led. Like, I don't know, like, the more fashion people, so maybe Adib, would you like to help me? Like, all Morgan wants, she kind of wants her guns to be out, not gonna lie, and the tattoos as well. So I don't know, maybe some kind of, what's on offer? Are they like not onesies?
Oh, jumpsuit or?
Yeah, jumpsuits or...
There are kind of tight-fitting jumpsuits. There are pieces of armor. There are very minimalist, futuristic-looking pieces of clothing. Yeah, there's also more old-fashioned, kind of almost costumey ones.
Yeah. Morgan will not want, like, she'll see the old-fashioned kind of costumey ones and be like, absolutely not, I can't be associated with that. So I think it's like, it's quite important to me that I don't know, I would like, I need skin to be exposed, as in, not in a sexy way, just like I kind of how my power works. So obviously I can't be wearing gloves or anything. Maybe my arms could be out. So
something like sleeveless?
Yeah. Cool. And maybe like I quite like the vest you have, Adib. Is there another one of those? Is that the bulletproof thing?
Yeah, this one is the bulletproof thing. Which you can see, like, I've been sweating trying to get this bent and controlled. This is new material for me, so this is not easy. So I would probably pick like a sport outfit with sleeves cut, without sleeveless, and I would put on the Kevlar armor and just weave it together so it just blends with the outfit that you're wearing.
That sounds good. I like green.
Start decorating with threading like greenery and embroidery of anything that is relevant to grass and plants.
Yeah, could you maybe like weave some of my tattoos that are like Celtic knots into into the fabric? I
start weaving along with the fabric designs similar to the tattoos.
That is so
and
cool.
I'm trying to make them like a continuation with the where it reaches the sleeveless part cut off. It just blends in with the uniform.
Wow, that's awesome. And I guess maybe does everyone else have a mask? Is it just...
Oh, I have this thing, like I have something covering my eye, but I also like I wrap a part of it around my face so it hides a bit more.
And obviously, yeah, I wear a full face helmet, like it's
Just to clarify, is this the Daft Punk style helmet, or is this the post Daft Punk style helmet?
I think this is the post Daft Punk style helmet because Morgan once commented that my helmet kind of looked like the guy from Daft Punk, so I changed it immediately. I went home and was like, "Mom, I need a new helmet."
Yeah, referring back to our character building episode, if anyone missed it.
Morgan would be like, "Oh, didn't you have a different helmet last time? This is nice, though. It's cool."
Oh, thanks. I just thought, it was last one was kind of impractical. This one's a bit more streamlined.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, I guess I don't think I want a helmet. It's a bit bulky. Like a mask, like a Deeb's would be good. So maybe like you could find a little green domino mask.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find one in a rack of many, many different masks of all shapes and sizes. You can pick out the ideal one for your needs.
realizing now that she's supposed to have a mask, Minnie will find, I'm going to guess, some extremely expensive and advanced material that she just does not clock is supposed to be used for something completely different, but it's really iridescent.
Mm-hmm. So like an invisibility cloak.
Yeah, something like that, but like the wrong way round.
Love it.
So it doesn't have the invisibility kind of powers, but like she really likes the fabric.
Cloak.
Yeah, so it's a visibility cloak. Yeah. It's all of the sort of weird refractions of the technology that's behind the invisible cloak to make it work. But like that's what she thinks is cool. So turns that into a kind of domino mask that then gets tied behind her head.
Yeah, Vera looks at you and thinks about saying something. You can see her pausing, and then
But it
just
looks
decides.
so good.
Yeah, and then she decides just like it's not worth it.
Just works.
Yeah, just works.
It looks sick. So once you've satisfied yourself with all the toys and costumes that your hearts could desire, she gathers you together and says, "Well, obviously, we've got Zenith and we've got the turban, but Minnie and Morgan, have you put any thought into what kind of hero name you want to have?"
My mum calls me Solatrix.
That's pretty. What does it mean?
It's kind of like Minnie is trying to directly translate a concept that does not exist. And it's like, you know, the moment when a solar flare collapses in on itself and releases a certain form of radiation that is particularly good for refraction into a specific kind of musical, like, just realizes that she's completely lost everyone.
Morgan, blank face.
But yeah, that like that, but small, you know. like if someone says that something is a small version of a bigger thing, yeah, that's it. It's totally human.
Great, yeah. No, that works for me with the solar element and your heliokinesis. That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah. Morgan, obviously no pressure. There's plenty of time to figure these things out, but if you have any ideas, it would be great to hear.
I didn't know that I'd have to come up with a name, I guess. Do you have any suggestion?
She kind of leafs through her notes for a second. She's like, well, I suppose with your ability to channel life force from other living things, we could go with something like Siphon?
Yeah, that works, I think. Siphon.
Cool. As long as you're sure, we don't want to. You're gonna be stuck with this for a while, so you gotta make sure you like it.
Wait, people can choose their hero names? It's not like the newspapers they decide?
Well, I suppose there are different origins for all sorts of things. I know Shanta was given that name by the public when they noticed his amazing singing, but other ones burst onto the scene with like, I am so-and-so. Like,
I could have just announced myself with a cool name instead of just seeing in the newspapers they decided to call me Turban. Like, I don't mind it, but I would have, like, if I had the choice, I would have spent more time thinking about it. But it's okay.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. We can always do a kind of rebrand if you want.
No, it's like everybody has your email and now you have to go tell everybody I have a new email. It just feels so much work.
I understand, yeah. I still have this old like Hotmail email account from when I was like 12. It's very embarrassing. So, and now as we have our assembled team and their amazing new aesthetics and names, we're going to take a short break and be right back. And we're back. So, as our heroes are gathered together, all decked out in their new gear, or just with a few extra smoke bombs, depending, Vera Constantine gets a message on her communicator. She touches a hand to her ear and seems to be having a conversation. She kind of holds up a hand in apology and goes a few steps away to take this conversation. And you can overhear her saying, wait, really, are you sure all the teams are out? I've only just onboarded this team. Surely this can wait. I suppose, yeah. From looking at their files, they seem relatively competent. Yeah, I'll do my best. But if this goes wrong, this is not on my head, okay? Okay. And she hangs up and turns back to you and says, well, looks like your first mission has come in early. It's a very busy day today. We've got loads of teams out, and lucky for you, seems that some opportunity to show what you can do has come up. So, yeah, let me just take you to one of our briefing rooms, and we can talk this over. So she leads you out of the warehouse and into a very bland meeting room with one of those smart whiteboards that they had when I was in primary school that were so snazzy and they're just like completely pointless. And she sits you all down and says, right, so we have an incident at the Castle Hill Mall with a relatively new villain on the scene called the Green Needle. He has this shtick of being themed around cacti.
Oh, I love cacti.
Oh, right. I thought that it was going to be a sewing thing. That's
No, yeah, you would think, but no, it's to do with like the spines. It's questionable branding, but well, yeah, that's not the point. Anyway, he is taking some of his minions and just ransacking the place, just taking all the valuable items like the electrical goods and the jewelry and stuff. And yeah, there's already a bunch of press outside waiting for like a superhero team to turn up. And there are some civilians in there who are being held hostage at this point. So we really need to make sure that this incident is dealt with sensitively. And I know this is putting you in at the deep end, and this is very much baptism of fire, all those idioms, every single idiom. But do you think you'd be able to do this? It would really help us out.
Yes.
sure. And then afterwards we fixed the prison industrial complex. We're going to get to that one, right?
Well, I'm going to assign that to you as a personal project.
Ooh, okay.
Take that on by yourself.
And yeah, I really don't think we have the resources to deal with that right now, but I still applaud your enthusiasm.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, but what does this person do? The green needle? The green cactus? What?
Yeah, the Green Needle, I believe that he has the ability to send spines out of his skin as a kind of ranged attack.
Ooh, does it hurt every time?
I honestly don't know, and I'm not sure that I want to know. And he can also transform his nails and hair into spines that can be used as melee attacks.
Very spine-centric.
Yeah, absolutely. And apparently he calls his minion his spines as well, so yeah.
Must get quite confusing for him with like everything's the same name. But yeah, we can do that.
How many targets are we talking about?
Well, in terms of the minions that he's got, it's probably about 24 of them.
Oh.
And they are, from the intelligence that we have currently, we've tapped into the CCTV of them all, and it looks like they are guarding the escalators, they are keeping watch, and they're also assisting with the looting and keeping the hostages so that no one interferes with their operations. So what would be ideal is if you could extract the hostages, make sure they're safe, and if you can neutralize non-lethally these minions and the Green Needle, that would be incredible, but obviously the safety of the civilians is the highest priority.
Mm-hmm.
Understood.
I'm just strong.
That's always helpful.
And I really can't punch if my life depends on it.
So this sounds like quite a major operation, and you're just sending, so is there a prison, is there a kind of specialist hostage negotiation force anywhere on this planet? I mean, city, department, yeah, because I'm from this planet. Yeah, so you're just sending some young people. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's honestly
just starts furiously taking notes.
No. Honestly, between you and me, this is coming from upstairs. This is not my decision.
Coming from upstairs.
I mean, my superiors. We're really stretched quite thin at the moment. There's been a massive increase in supervillain activity the past few weeks. It's inexplicable. We have no idea where it's come from.
Do we know much about his or his minions' motivations? Like, is there like a lack of jobs? Maybe I'm just wondering how one gets into minioning.
That is a very good question, but
maybe I should ask them.
Is this as we're all walking to the mode of transport?
Yeah, I assume we're on our way somewhere because it seems quite urgent.
Yes, this is quite urgent. Yeah, I think you are still currently in the briefing room, but Vera is very much looking at her watch and also checking her phone to like look at the CCTV footage of what's happening in the mall. And it's just like, yeah, I think we really should be going. I have to stay here and monitor the situation, unfortunately, but I will give you the GPS coordinates, and you can take one of our cars.
Could we have one of the tablets that you're using to monitor the CCTV? Just since you have insight into everything that's going on in there.
Oh yeah, of course. And
Thank you.
she reaches into a drawer and pulls out a state-of-the-art tablet. Cool. But nothing compared to what you have on Spec Markle 5. But
well, I mean, but none of Minnie's things are already connected to the CCTV. Like Minnie hands one to holding her hand out, assuming that there will be more. And do we have any way to communicate with each other?
Oh yes, right. That is a very good point. I'm sorry, this is all very rushed.
That's fine. I have us covered.
Great, amazing.
Can anyone drive?
A car? No.
Yeah.
You can drive?
Mm-hmm.
Zenith can. Okay.
I'm going to hand each one of my new teammates a little earpiece. Very small, black, just fits right in the ear.
Tug it beneath my turban.
Give it a little tap and we can all communicate with each other. And also, it's definitely not being monitored.
Oh, wonderful.
How reassuring.
I don't say that. I'm learning lessons from Minnie. It's like, don't say that. I'm definitely not monitoring.
Right. Okay. So she doesn't. Yeah, so you don't say that, right? Because Minnie would have taken that at face value.
It's all right. We'll have some talks later about how to be covert.
Incredible.
Minnie's got some quite straightforward on the table questions about how the heck Taj is run, because this operation does not seem okay at all.
It's a government organization. What can I say? That's what I keep saying, but that's what the story I'm sticking to.
Cool. Anyway, I assume that we get in the car.
Yes, you get in a big black SUV type vehicle, and Zenith takes the wheel and drives you up to the mall. It is one of the fanciest malls in the city. It is tailored to a very specific clientele. It is all the kind of designer brands and things that an ordinary person would just be like, why would you spend that much money on a pair of socks? What's even the point? And
Minnie has no conception of what the ordinary, but there are some people who spend this much on socks.
Yeah.
Takes notes.
Yeah, that is a fact. In terms of the architecture, there's amazing kind of orchid-based Art Deco, but modernized kind of patterns. And as you come up to the doors, there is a gaggle of press there with cameras and flash bulbs and all the usual nonsense that they're doing. And they're as soon as they see you, they're like, new superheroes, and they rush towards you.
If it's possible to avoid the public and the press, I'm doing it. If it's possible to go round the back,
yeah.
We're in the underground car park.
I'd rather, if the options are like go through the press or go through the police, I'm assuming they've surrounded this building. If they know that there's I don't know.
Are
I'm
there
making
any
assumptions
police?
about that.
Like,
that's the
why
point.
are we sending children?
We're driving up. What's the situation around the mall? Like, I very rarely enter a situation without looking at it first.
Yeah.
So as I, take a sort of circuitous route around the mall and just try and get a fix on like what's going on there.
Absolutely.
And we could count this as a usage of my be mindful of my surroundings when you assess the situation before entering into a fight. This could be a fight. I don't know. I can ask an additional question.
Fantastic.
Even it says even on a miss. But then I don't know what the roll is.
Yes, the assess the situation is one of your basic moves.
Oh, of course it is, which is plus superior. I'm going to do that.
Yes, perfect. Please give me an assess the situation roll.
That's a 9.
Nice. As default, you ask one question, but considering your ability, you get to ask 2.
Yes. Question number 1 will be least visible point of entry. Where could we enter where we're not going to be bothered or noticed potentially by everyone outside? And second question is going to be, and what here can I use to my advantage that I can see what's going on?
All right. So in terms of an entry point, you can see that there is an alleyway leading down the side of the building. And if you peek your head around the corner, there are some kind of staff and fire exits that you can probably, with a very strong person, get through without too much trouble. And in terms of stuff you can use to your advantage, what kind of thing are you looking for?
I've just had a thought. Is there a spot on the outside of the building where it looks like I could mess with the electronics on the inside, if that makes sense? If I wanted to shut off all the lights inside the mall, if I wanted to, is there somewhere I could maybe attempt something like that?
Yeah, I think in the same alleyway you can see that there is a fuse box and plenty of bits and bobs that you can mess about with.
Perfect. That is where I will drop us off, I think, is close to this quiet place.
Yeah, I think as soon as like a big black SUV drives up, like even remotely within the vicinity, there is some interest from the press, but I think if you're quick enough and just dart down the alleyway, you can get there before, and the press will probably want to stick in the location. They're not going to stray too far from their beat. So yeah, you've definitely been spotted, but they're not going to come after you at this point.
Great.
Morgan is absolutely just going to be following Zenith. Like, he has some sort of training and knows how to deal with a situation like this.
Yeah, and from my experience with Zenith, like, he starts walking and I just follow behind.
It is the only kind of situation I know how to deal with. Going to a coffee shop was challenging.
So what do you want to do with this fuse box, this collection of wires that can magically do things, because I know nothing about electronics?
I just want to rig up, if you'll let me, some kind of simple device that's going to let me trigger basically just a shutdown of the electronics within the mall. I want to try and, I don't want to do it to start with because that's announcing our presence immediately. But if I can, I would like to try and set up a kind of remote shutdown of the mall's power.
Cool. I will say that this is probably an unleash your powers roll, because even though this isn't a superpower, this is part of your kind of enhanced abilities, if that makes sense.
All right.
So that is plus freak.
Yeah. I get a +1 when acting on the answers to assess the situation.
Amazing.
So I'm going to take a +1 on this because my freak is 0. Please be good. Oh, that's double sixes +1.
Woo!
13.
Incredible.
The dice know. The dice know you are doing what you are trained to do.
Yeah.
Good.
Fantastic. So yeah, absolutely. You have a device in your hand with a convenient button that you know as soon as you press it, the entire mall's power is going to be disabled at your whim.
Yeah. I open up the fuse box very quickly, rig something up in there, and then close it back up again. And all right.
Morgan's going to just grab Zenith quickly and be like, I might be able to make people fall asleep. I just feel like that might be useful to know right now.
Great. Yeah, use it.
Cool. I have to get quite close to them.
Oh, I can bring them close.
Oh, team up!
Minnie puts down both of her coffees. Well, one is a hot chocolate in the car, and uses both cup holders, and then follows.
Excellent.
It's a shame because there's still some of the hot chocolate left. It was just really rich, so it's taken 2 episodes to drink.
Kind of lukewarm now. Rather
Yeah.
than- but-
Yeah, but it's still good. It's still good.
Before we go in, can we check out Minnie's tablet and see what the situation is inside?
Oh, I thought we all got one. No, okay. So Minnie then tried to hand one over and then was only given
Government
one.
agency, they definitely gave us one per team.
Wonderful. Okay, amazing. Yeah, so Minnie turns it around so you can all see, and it's like there's clearly quite a few different feeds, but I'm going to guess that one of the main feeds is of wherever Spiky McSpikes is.
Yes, you can absolutely see that the Green Needle himself is on the upper level of the mall. So there are 2 levels above the ground floor with escalators going between them, and there are kind of glass barriers and balconies, but yeah, there's very clearly a very long drop if anyone were to be chucked off one of these upper levels.
Does the mall have a glass roof? Often, there's a skylight type situation.
Yeah, I'm going to say there's a skylight in there. And you can also see that there are minions stationed at the base and the top of the escalators, helping the Green Needle with extracting electronics and jewelry and other valuable items from the shops on the top floor. And also you can see that if you scroll through the feeds, you can see that in an entertainment store full of DVDs that no one buys anymore, there are a cluster of frightened looking civilians surrounded by minions.
All right, should we start with helping the hostages or should we go to the bad guy first?
I mean, we could drop something heavy on him from above. I can make things heavy, by the way, or light, She hovers upwards slightly and then lower, like myself,
What a way to learn about each other. That's cool.
Every day's a school day.
So, we could do that, take it off at the top, or we could, sneak in. I can't make people invisible, but I can kind of bend light a bit. Normal things.
I can punch through a wall.
That's cool. How big a wall?
Depends how many living things there are nearby.
Okay.
We should really move.
What's your call? Should we head straight up to Green Needle or should we tackle the hostages first?
Hostages.
All right.
Okay.
You can tell that the hostages are being kept on what in the UK we would call the first floor, but in the US you would call it the second floor.
Are you talking
confusing.
ground first or first, second?
So in the UK it would be ground first, and then the US would be first, second, I think.
Yeah, and I think in different places around the world, I don't know who uses
One
which.
set of stairs up.
Yes.
But in chapter it goes second, third.
There's no
And
first
then,
floor.
yeah,
Yeah, the basement counts as the first floor.
it's the first floor.
All right.
Yeah, let's get inside.
Should we crawl up the outside and go through a window or something to go straight to the right floor? Or, what would be a normal human way to approach this?
Well, if you're going to go from outside, I throw up one of my ribbons and it clings on something and now we have a rope to go up.
Oh, great.
Is there a window that would allow us in at the correct floor?
Yes, you are in a side alley near some staff entrances and fire exits, and above you can see that there are windows that presumably lead into sort of office space for the people who run the mall. And yeah, there is a window that Adib's rope has kind of attached itself to the windowsill of that you can presumably get yourself in through.
All right, let's go.
Okay, I mean, Morgan will obey, climb the rope, no skill, all brute force, just hand over hand, feet aren't touching.
Without, making a big deal of it, Minnie's going to make Morgan slightly lighter, while she's climbing, so that
Thank you.
it's a bit
That's
easier.
so not necessary, but appreciated. Thank you.
Just sees that she's struggling and doesn't realize it's a technique thing rather than a strength thing. So it probably actually makes it harder because then your body doesn't feel quite right. And
I like accidentally throw myself up a little bit past the window. Like, oh, okay. And I'm just gonna, with no thought of trying to be quiet or any kind of stealth, she's just gonna like punch the window, so like just so that we can go through. She's just gonna smash like. You didn't tell me not to do that.
I like the idea that every time Pip puts his hand over his mouth with the that is also what Zenith is doing.
Yeah. Not that you can tell because of the mask.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. You burst through into this very dull-looking office space and presumably step back to let your fellow...
Well, Morgan's going to stick her head out the window and be like, I'm in. Does anyone need a hand up?
Minnie will make herself lighter and just hover up. I'm like assuming the hover boots are kind of quite weak, and so for most people it'd allow you to hover like an inch off the ground when you turn them on. But because Minnie can like make herself lighter, she just kind of and then steps through the door and then makes herself heavy again.
I like that so much.
You could, when it turns into things like actual flight that impacts fights and stuff, you can totally make me roll for it. But I'm going to say for like functional things like this, just your discretion. Like
absolutely makes absolute sense.
I can pull you up if you need. As she tugs on the rope,
and I can help. I'm here now.
All right, Zenith, you're up.
I just kind of turn to look at Adib for a second, and again, you're just looking into this like faceless black helmet
with fingerprint.
Look.
From
yeah, right. Good. And then look up at Morgan, head sticking out of the shattered window.
Really eager, keen face.
And half using Adib's rope and kind of half not, I'm just going to go up the wall. There's enough little bits of things to grab onto, and broken bits of brick and pipes hanging out the side of this wall. I just go up the wall and just hop through the window and very quietly, so you can all still hear it because it's we all have these communicators. Very quietly, I'm just going to say, maybe the element of surprise is our friend here, so let's try and be quiet.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure.
All right, so originally I was going to just pull myself as fast as I can, like a fast lift, but now I'm just going up slowly so I don't make noise.
It's very much the definition of like the horses have already left the barn. And just like quietly closing the door behind them.
Morgan will put her hand out the window and just like, if you'll take her hand.
Yeah, I would. Adib reaches out.
We'll just lift you, like as if you weigh nothing, just like pull you through the window when you've got close enough.
Incredible.
And say, we have to be quiet, forgetting that we've got the communication things in.
And now, as you all have made your way into the building, ready to strike like the crack team that you are, we're going to end the episode there for today. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Chapter Multiverse. Before we end the episode, I would like to ask each of our wonderful players where we can find them. And so let's ask Ahmed.
Hi, I'm Ahmed Aljabry, and you can find me at Mr. Aljabry everywhere, but I'm always available on Twitter.
And Lydia.
I'm Lydia Nicholas, and I too am on Twitter. Not always, though. Sometimes I sleep. At Lyd Nicholas.
Wonderful. And Pip.
Hi, I'm Pip Gladwin, and I too am on Twitter because multiple people in my life told me I had to be. You can find me at Pip_Gladwin, and yep.
And Lowri.
Yay. Also, wow, just going to follow the crowd on Twitter at Lowri Tweets. Listen to other Rusty Quill things as well as lots of other audio dramas. They're amazing. But the one that I am most invested in right now, apart from this one, is Enthusiasm. We talk about lovely things. It's nice.
Yeah. And you can find me on Twitter at Maddy_Abstract, where there are links to all the various things that I do. And we hope to see you next time on Chapter Multiverse. But until then, from all of us here in the space between worlds, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Chapter and Multiverse is a podcast distributed by Rusty Quill and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike 4.0 International License. It is directed by Maddy Searle and produced by Natasha Johnston, with executive producers Alexander J. Newall and April Sumner. The Eternal Tavern Keeper was played by Kareem Cronfley. This episode was edited by Lowri Ann Davies, Tessa Vroom, and Maddy Searle, with music by Nico Vertese. Thank you for listening.